The silver canopy rustled in the midnight breeze as crickets broke the hush, their song brittle under the weight of unease. Lumenvale had thrived for centuries, basking in the soft luster of moonbeams that draped every rooftop and root. But tonight, the moon-sick trees oozed with darkness, leaves curled like burned parchment, and the air tasted of old iron. In a cramped hut at the forest's edge, Mira's fingers trembled over a faded herb-lore scroll as she pawed through vials. Despite her efforts, nothing stopped the sick rot coloring her kin's veins. She barely slept, and when she did, strange visions pressed on her. Tonight, she jolted awake from another whispering dream, heart hammering as the message lingered, like moonlight sliding over water. "Who are you?" Mira gasped, eyelashes slick with dew. The silver glow seemed to answer, a phantom voice drifting across her ceiling. "Daughter of twilight, seek the glade." She shivered before a rapping at her window startled her upright. "What now?" she grumbled, tiptoeing. She found Tyron, garbed in colors that looked as if they'd leapt from a festival, grinning through the pain. He swung his lute, plucking a scratchy note. "You awake or dreaming, Mira? Even the moon thinks you look like trouble." She swung the window wide, exasperated. "The blight's already at my door. Go sing to someone who can sleep." But Tyron's grin slipped. "It's worse. Old Jern's wheat crumbled to ash at dawn, and there's a knight in our clearing says he's here for you." Mira's heart skipped. She wiped her hands on her apron, steadying herself. "A knight? Here?" In Lumenvale, knights belonged in lullabies, not among the sick. "And not just any knight," Tyron said, voice low. "Sir Talus, exiled from the Silver Order. Says he's heard the Moonglade calling too." "Then we go," Mira said, shoulders set. She looked at the moon through the sickly branches. The voice echoed again, "Daughter of twilight, seek the glade." She stepped into the chill, a bundle of hope and dread. The world, her world, was dying. But maybe, just maybe, she'd been chosen to heal it. Somewhere deeper in the woods, unseen by all, something ancient stirred, watching the mortals brave the night. The village square was ghostly quiet, moonlight puddling on the worn cobbles. Mira hurried beside Tyron, knotting her shawl tighter around shaking shoulders. Clouds dragged across the sky, leaving them exposed to the creeping sense that something watched from every shadow. Under the glimmering glow, a figure leaned against the old well. His cloak, once white, now begrimed, trailed torn silver embroidery in the dust. His sword, half drawn and battered, caught the moon's light in sideways glints. Tyron kept his voice to a hush. "Don't look too impressed. He's probably here to beg for coin." Mira ignored him and stepped forward. "Sir Silas?" she asked, trying to sound braver than she felt. The knight's eyes opened, pale blue and haunted. "I thought I'd be answering to the council, not a pair of moon-dazed children. Yet it was your name I heard in the dream." Mira blinked. "You saw the glade too?" He nodded, the barest frown creasing his brow. "A silver hollow, voices like thunder and birdsong. I followed the pull here, a ruined knight seeking forgiveness. If the spirits chose you, I'll follow." Tyron folded his arms, skepticism painted across his face. "That's awfully convenient. What if it's a trick, Mira?" She shook her head, feeling the echo in her bones. "It's real. Even you felt the pull, Tyron. Why else follow me in the dead of night?" He sputtered, refusing to meet her eyes. "Curiosity is all." A painful cough from a nearby alley snapped their attention away. They found old Jern, doubled over, skin sapped of color. As Mira knelt, the blight's mark, a crescent of darkness, twined around his wrist. She pressed her hand over the mark and shut her eyes, desperate for guidance. The cold wash of moonlight prickled her skin. For a heartbeat she glimpsed a hidden path, a trail through shadows and silver, leading to the heart of the blighted woods. An ancient voice hissed through her mind, urgent and clear. "The Moonglade wakes. Only unity of heart and blade can mend its wounds." She opened her eyes, breath ragged. "The path's been shown. Tyron, Sir Silas, will you come? This isn't just about dreams now, it's life or death." Sir Silas straightened, his oath implied in the steel of his gaze. Tyron hesitated, but the helpless look Jern gave him broke his mask of bravado. "If you're fool enough to go, I'd better play hero. Besides, someone needs to sing about it." Their alliance forged in shadows, Mira led them from the village toward the waiting woods. Behind them, the moon-drunk trees seemed to whisper. 3 spirits, 3 mortal hearts, hope, burden, and mischief, walking together into the dark. The forest devoured the light the moment they stepped beneath its arching boughs. Mira's lantern flickered, a pale star swallowed by ancient gloom. Every snapped twig set Tyron glancing over his shoulder. Even Sir Celis's armor seemed muted, its once proud surface dulled as if it remembered disgrace. Mira felt the pulse of blight in every root, a sickly heartbeat. "Stay close," she whispered, forcing calm into her voice. Tyron scoffed, strumming a nervous chord on his lute. "Close enough for the nightmares to nip us all at once?" "Music defies shadows," Sir Celis murmured, stepping ahead, sword ready. "Or so my mother told me before war made her tongue silent." A hush fell, deep, not just absence but smothering, listening silence. They followed Mira's vision, winding past ruined shrines half swallowed by moss. Suddenly a pale light wavered to their right. Mira's breath caught. There, the dream path. Drawn toward the glow, they reached a brook, its waters running pitch black where moonbeams could not touch. Beside it perched a silvery fox, luminous, eyes ageless. It fixed Mira with an unwavering stare. Tyron whispered, "That's no normal beast." The fox spoke, a voice chiming like crystal, yet weighted with heartache. "Mortal children, why disturb the Moonglade's sorrow? What can flesh mend that time has unmade?" Sir Celis stepped forward, hand on his blade. "We seek the light that once made these woods a haven. We come not for glory but mercy." Tyron swallowed but found courage. "If you're a spirit, you know our spirits are breaking. Give us a chance." Mira knelt, reaching out. "Guide us. I will do whatever's needed, for my people and the woods." The fox studied her. "Names shared, pain endured. So be it. Follow the river's path until it splits. Choose moonlight over shadow if you would see the glade. But beware, the blight feeds on doubt and on secrets left untold." In a blink, the fox vanished. The trio was left trembling on the brink of legend, with more questions than answers. But Mira felt hope, a fragile thread guiding her feet. She led them on, heart pounding, the silence behind them thick with watching spirits and those ancient secrets yet to come. The brook gurgled as they journeyed deeper into the forest, its black waters shimmering beneath the fractured moon. A chill set in, cold enough to bring color to Tyron's jokes and set his melodies trembling. Grass turned brittle underfoot, fat moonflowers drooped, petals bruised by blight. Tyron adjusted his pack, faking ease. "So, Mira, the fox didn't mention what happens if we choose wrong at the fork." Sir Celis peered forward, vigilant. "Then we choose wisely. The spirits often bargain in riddles. Punishment for the careless." Mira gave a nervous half-smile. "We trust what's given. The moon's path, not the shadows." Her hand hovered over a pouch of herbs strapped to her belt, knuckles white. She kept her eyes peeled for the vision's signs. Minutes stretched. Then, as the brook twisted, they reached the promised split. One branch shimmered with faint silver, the other ran thick and still, its surface broken by oily ripples. Sir Celis motioned. "Moonlight, the other reeks of darkness." Tyron bit his lip. "Easy for you. My gut churns either way." Yet he stepped bravely alongside Mira as she led the way, heart hammering at every pulse of silver in the mist hovering above the correct path. As the forest pressed tighter, Mira's ears rang with that old whisper, "Unity of heart and blade." Her doubts nipped at her. Was she really meant to lead? Suddenly thorns thickened around them, twisting from nowhere. Tyron yelped, jumping back as a vine snagged his lute, nearly wrenching it away. Sir Celis slashed the brambles aside, but more snaked closer, tipped with the blackness of the blight. "Hold," Mira cried. Fear gripped her, but she reached into her pouch for moonwort, remembering old tales, how its touch repelled the ravages of darkness. She crushed a stalk, its scent sharp, and pressed it to the brambles. They recoiled, sizzling as if burned, clearing the path. Mira exhaled in relief. Tyron grinned, fixing his lute. "Remind me never to mock your weed collecting again." Sir Celis nodded, pride flickering in his eyes. "Well done, Mira." The forest quieted, but the moon above now pulsed with an ominous pale light. Mira shuddered, sensing something powerful awaken. She glanced at her companions, unlikely heroes perhaps, but together braver than alone. They pressed forward, the shadows at their back thicker than ever. Somewhere ahead, the very heart of the Moonglade waited, along with truths none of them were ready for. They crossed from tangled woods to a hollow flooded with haze, the air shimmering odd and weighty as a dream. The moon hung low and wide above them now, its bruised surface bleeding pale gold down on the forest. Amid washed-out tree trunks, patches of untouched green lay in fragile rings, the land itself clinging to magic, but fading fast. Sir Kylus drew his sword as a matter of habit rather than confidence. "We're near the heart," he murmured, voice a gruff echo in the shifting mist. Tyron scrunched his nose. "Smells like someone's been cooking ghosts." Mira stepped ahead, eyes wide. Moonbeams slanted through moving fog, and she saw figures flickering at the edge of sight, wispy, spectral, both beautiful and sorrowful. But none truly spoke. The wind shifted. A chill swept through Mira, and a sound broken melodic rose from below. A willow stood in the hollow's center, leaves like tattered silk. Its roots oozed ink-black sap, the mark of the blight, but a pool of gentle light clung to the battered trunk. Suddenly, Mira's vision blurred. She staggered, Tyron catching her elbow. "Steady now? Another dream?" She nodded, gasping as she felt herself yanked into the moonlit world of her sleep. This time she wasn't alone. A luminous spirit woman hovered near the willow, her voice kind but weary. "Child of dusk, the bond is breaking. Time is short. The blight feeds on old pain, on mortal and spirit alike." Mira's voice emerged as a trembling whisper, even in the vision. "What must I do? How do I heal it?" "Harmony must mend what pride has sundered. Restore what was stolen. Trust your allies. Awake and listen for the truth behind the bard's song and the knight's promise." The spirit faded, sorrow carved into her eyes. "Do not come alone to the glade. You will face the shadow together, or all will fall." Mira jolted back to the real world, sweat beading her brow. Sir Silas's hand was on her shoulder, steady. "What did you see?" She hesitated, staring at them both. "We're almost to the glade. None of us can face what waits alone. We heal together." Tyron offered a shaky grin. "Right then. I never planned on dying solo anyway." Sir Silas's mouth twisted into something almost like a smile, the weight in his eyes slightly lessened. "Forward. We do this as one." Renewed, if still trembling, the trio stepped deeper into the hollow, the moon's gaze upon them. Whatever waited in the heart of the Moonglade, Mira now knew. Only united could they hope to conquer the rising darkness. Mist thickened as Mira, Tyron, and Sir Silas pressed onward together, the forest's ancient hush broken by Tyron's soft humming, a melody searching for courage. Shadows twined between oaks and moonflowers, and every breath tasted sharp with the promise of revelation or ruin. The path bent sharply, revealing a bridge of living roots crossing a narrow ravine. Below, the water no longer reflected the moon, but churned with blackness, alive with sickly shapes. Mira swallowed her fear. "We stay together. No doubt. No secrets." Sir Kylus' jaw tightened. "Agreed." Tyron tried humor, though his smirk shook. "Guess we're past the point for clever tricks, huh?" Halfway across, the bridge vibrated. Mira froze. A spectral figure materialized, tall, cloaked in tattered moon shadows, its face a swirling void. It blocked their way, cold dread spilling from it. The blight's spirit, twisted and full of hate. The thing's voice was broken glass. "You trespass. The light cannot save you. The old harmony is gone." Sir Silas stepped forward, sword ready, but Tyron held him back with an urgent whisper. "Words first. That's what the spirit said, Mira. Music and promise." Mira's heart pounded. She cleared her mind, recalling the luminous woman's guidance. "We did not come stealing. We seek to mend what pain has twisted, both spirit and mortal. We offer truth." The blighted spirit's ragged form writhed. "Truth is forfeit. Mortals broke the pact. Only sorrow remains." Tyron stepped up, strumming his lute in a gentle, haunted chord, a melody of loss, but also hope. "So let music carry us where pride could not. If you call for truth, let us earn it." The spirit paused, its edges quivering as if memories stirred. Mira saw her moment. She opened her hand, palm glowing faintly with silver from her dream. "You were hurt, so were we. Can we not begin again?" A long, shuddering breath, the spirit faded slightly, its voice no longer cruel, but cracked with uncertainty. "Go. Find the heart. Only together will the wound close. Prove your unity." With that, it vanished. The bridge steadied. Tyron's knees nearly buckled. "By the moons? I thought it might tear me in two." Sir Silas set a steadying hand on both their shoulders. "You both did well. We keep going. Together." They crossed into an ancient moonlit clearing. Mira felt their bond, fragile but strengthening, guiding them closer to the truth at the core of the blighted Moonglade. Moonlight pooled thickly on the clearing's moss as the trio entered, all breathless and pale with relief and growing dread. Ancient standing stones formed a broken ring, each etched with runes now blackened or half erased by creeping vines. At their center, A marble altar sagged beneath the weight of twisted roots and the glimmer of something once holy. Sir Calus circled the altar, his gloved hand brushing an inscription. Lost to shadow. All begins anew in shared light. He read aloud. It's a plea, maybe a warning. Tyron knelt, running his fingers over an old moon-shaped pendant half buried in the earth. Why do I get the feeling we're being watched? Mira felt it too, a prickling at the back of her neck, as if the observing spirits filled the air just beyond sight. Suddenly the ground trembled. A dark root lurched upward, nearly wrapping Mira's ankle. Calus slashed it back with his battered sword, and Tyron yanked Mira close. They know we're here, Mira whispered. The shadows in the stone ring thickened, swirling like living ink. A voice rang out, immense echoing, a spectral chorus that shook the marrow. Return what was taken. Heal the breach, or all light will fade. Prove your unity. Sir Calus drew in a shaking breath. Something was stolen, something binding mortals to spirits. We must restore it. Mira's mind spun. The stories, something about a moonstone, a relic split when humans and spirits quarreled, the pieces hidden to keep them apart. Tyron's eyes widened as he tugged the pendant he found. The cracked gem shimmered. Like this? The moon overhead flared, the broken runes on the stones lighting up in sequence. Mira took Tyron's hand, guiding the pendant to the altar. Together, she urged. Sir Calus, his expression stormy but determined, placed his palm over theirs. We three, hope, heart, and blade. A shock of silver light surged through them all, binding their hands, mending the gem slightly, but they felt resistance, as if the blight fought back, hungrier than ever. Pain and memory battered Mira, flashes of ancient betrayal, spirits cast aside, vows of friendship turned sour. Overwhelmed, she nearly faltered, but felt Tyron and Calus steadying her. Tyron's voice, trembling but clear, sang out, Not in anger nor in fear we return, let kin draw near. The light pulsed, the pendant warming, the shadow crackling but not dispersing. Mira realized there were still wounds left unhealed, secrets and doubt among them and in the land. Their trial was not yet over, but together they had awakened hope, and the spirits knew it. A path of moonfire opened beyond the altar, deeper into the glade. Mira steadied her friends, her resolve fierce. One step closer, the final healing lies ahead. We do not break, not now. Moonfire paved their way, casting twisting shadows as Mira led them deeper into the heart of the glade. Ancient trees bowed overhead, their branches weeping pale light and black tears. The air pressed close, heavy with memories, whispers of laughter, sudden cries, snatches of old lullabies. The blight seemed to sense their advance, shuddering across roots and stones to block the path. Sir Calus checked over his shoulder, his voice low and raw. It's almost as if the blight knows we have the stone. It fears us. Tyron gave him a lopsided smile that masked his nerves. If I were old corruption, I'd be nervous too. Mira's steps slowed as they reached a grove where moonlight failed entirely. In the center stood a twisted tree, its bark black as void and veins snaking with silver. The spirit's sorrow was heaviest here. Echoes gathered, forming a spectral barrier, faces both human and not, their eyes pleading, warning, blaming. One spirit, her shape familiar from Mira's dreams, broke forward, her eyes, silver morning, fixed on Mira. You carry what once bound two worlds, but wounds cannot heal if the wound-bearers hide. All three must be seen, all truth spoken. Mira turned to her companions, her voice trembling in the hush. There's something I've hidden. My mother, she was moonborn. I'm not just Lumenvale's herbalist. Part of me belongs with them, the spirits. I never told because I feared exile, or worse. Sir Calus's jaw tightened, but he nodded. I too bear shame. My banishment wasn't just for mercy withheld in battle. I lost my faith entirely. I thought I could never again be worthy of light. Tyron did not step back. Instead, he gave a somber smile. I run from my own weaknesses. I joke and trick because I'm scared no song or friend will stay. If I stop performing, I'll be left alone. The spectral barrier trembled. The pendant in Mira's hand blazed. The spirits cried out, a desperate harmony rising. Now let shadow and guilt fall away. Only truth heals, and in truth, unity. They stepped together to the twisted tree. As one, they pressed the moonstone into the bark. The ground thundered, silver roots encircled their feet. Light soared upward and darkness recoiled. But the tree did not heal yet. The moon above flickered as if uncertain. In that moment, the blight's true heart revealed itself. Rising in a shape of shadow and root, the spirit they'd met on the bridge, now vast and howling, bent on snuffing out all hope. "Stand together," Mira said, voice steady as the moon at midnight. "No past, no secrets, just us and what we fight for." The final challenge loomed, the moon waiting overhead, poised between ruin and renewal. The true heart of the blight towered before them, a monstrous figure woven from darkness, agony, and tangled root. Its form blotted out what remained of the moon's flicker, its voice a storm of every bitter memory. The grove shook as Mira, Tyron, and Cerselis faced it, their hands linked around the moonstone pressed into the ancient tree. Mist lashed out, seeking to drag them apart, but the bridge they'd built, of confessions, forgiveness, and shared fears, held them fast. The blighted spirit's wail nearly broke them. Mortals squander unity, spirits feed on pride. Your world was better apart. Each word cracked the ground beneath their feet, echoing with the pain of old betrayals. Tyron staggered but held tight, voice quivering as he met the horror's stare. "Maybe we did break things, but we're choosing to mend them. Right here, right now." He strummed a raw chord, the music slicing through the mist. For a second, the blight flickered. Cerselis lifted his battered sword, not to slash, but to plant it, blade down, as a promise. "I have failed before, but I stand now for both worlds, whatever comes." Mira felt weakness claw at her thoughts, ancient guilt seeping in. Doubt curled like smoke, whispering she could never belong in either world. But Tyron tightened his grip, Cerselis nodded, a silent promise. With a steady breath, Mira called to the spirits, voice ringing with everything she had hidden, everything she had learned. "We cannot undo the past, but together spirits and mortals can make something new. I am both, and I choose hope." Moonlight burst from the stone, blinding, searing through fog and ancient anger. The blight writhed, howling, its shadow boiling up to swallow the trio. But Tyron's music kept hope alive, Cerselis's oath steadied their courage, and Mira's dual heritage anchored the light. Centuries of sorrow battled moments of forgiveness and acceptance. The blight faltered, then surged. One final terrible push, testing the heroes as the moon above tilted closer and closer to darkness. With their last reserves, the trio pressed forward, the moonstone pulsing hotter, the connection raw but unbreakable. Cracks blossomed in the curse-bound tree, silver bleeding through bark and root. The moon's reflection shimmered on the ground, beginning to return, though the blight clutched what little power remained. But as the world hung on the edge of midnight, victory was far from certain. One wrong move, one faltering heart, and all would be lost. The final reckoning waited for the moment the last secret was spoken, and the last test of unity faced. To heal the Moonglade, they would need not just courage, but the forgiveness of old wounds, and a trust deeper than any vow. For a heartbeat, the world hovered between moonshadow and dawn. Mira clung to Tyron and Cerselis as the blight's monstrous form lunged, jaws wide for despair, claws of regret reaching for every fragile hope. The moonstone blazed, but it wasn't enough. The blight's screams splintered the clearing, and roots snaked up, trying to drag Mira into the chasm of her own doubt. She faltered, nearly losing herself to centuries of hidden guilt, her secret heritage, the old betrayals, the ache of not belonging anywhere. Tyron's music wavered, his hands shaking. "Mira," he cried, voice cracking. "You're the bridge. Don't let go. We need you, all of you." Cerselis roared, bracing Mira's shoulders. "Stand, you are not alone. My blade holds for you, for Tyron, for every hope I once let die." His words cut through the blight's lies, steady as moonlight on steel. Mira gasped for breath. She shut her eyes and reached deeper, hearing her mother's lullabies, the trust in Tyron's laughter, the stubborn faith in Cerselis's oaths. She let her spirit span both worlds, flesh and moon, human and spirit, one heart instead of a tangle of old wounds. She spoke not in words but in the music of her friends, the bravery of their confessions, forgiveness given, not just asked. "You are not our enemy," she whispered to the blight. "You are pain forgotten, love twisted by grief. We see you, and we will not turn away." The moon above crowned the clearing, shining pure. Silver roots wound around Mira, Tyron, and Cerselis, binding them together. Tyron's lute lifted a hopeful song, and Cerselis's blade glimmered with new purpose. The blight screamed, fear and anguish splitting apart in threads of shadow. Then gently the moonstone shivered, and the darkness began to unravel. The blight's form fragmented, sorrow falling like rain, pain swallowed by the earth. Spirit faces crowded the grove, luminous and weeping, and for the first time the light reached every corner, every heart. Mira steadied herself, eyes brimming as the moonlight touched her and her friends. "It's over," Tyron breathed. "Laugh ragged. We did it. Together." Sir Talus knelt, head bowed, as new dawn washed his armor clean. "I am forgiven. I am home." The ancient tree stood reborn, its silvery leaves whispering with unburdened peace. The Moonglade blossomed anew. Mira, the herbalist once afraid of her lineage, now stood as guardian to both worlds, a living bridge. Yet even as the spirits and villagers gathered, Mira knew the story was not solely hers. Lumenvale would carry scars and memories, but its song would last. The trio's bond, wrought of truth, tested by shadow, gleamed in every moonbeam that touched the earth, and as the moon climbed high, Mira glanced sideways at her companions. "The world's wider than we feared," she said, her smile blooming with hope. "Shall we see what other secrets wait in its silver light?" Together, laughing and whole, the heroes began their next story beneath the unyielding glow of the Moonglade's reborn moon.